Hello, welcome to Video Academy. Today I'm going to present a simple application in ASP.NET, which is pretty much how to start with Entity Framework Core with a new database in Visual Studio. Pretty much this is the so-called model. First we build the C# model and then we build the database. So let's start. We go to File, New, and Project. There we select ASP.NET Core Web Application. I always usually do this, and then I go here, Platform, all platforms, project type. Okay, perfect. Next. Then we name our project Entity Framework. Get started. Repos is okay. Create new solution. Place solution project in the same directory. Then we click create. Make sure that we have .NET Core, ASP.NET Core 2.1, and we select Web Application Model View Controller, configure for HTTPS, no Docker support, and of course no authentication. For now, we click on create and we wait a bit. Okay, so in the Solutions Explorer, this is pretty much what we get. We get some controllers, models, and views. This is our model, our controller, and our views. Yeah. Startup looks like this. Programs looks like this. If we run the file with Control and F5, just a second, and we'll see what we're going to get. This is what we get once it loads, of course. Yeah, some home, about, name of the application, and contact page. You can loop a bit like this. It's fun. All the links here are working. You can see on the bottom left corner of the screen where these links are going to bring you. So enough, let's do it really quickly. So we have two models pretty much, or actually three. One is the context, one is the name, one is block, and one other is post. So pretty much let's write them. This one looks okay. It's just like error handler. So we go add new item class, and we name it blogging context.cs. Kind of delete this and write some interesting stuff like this, and then like this. What is this doing? This thing here inherits from DB context, and it says that there are two type of classes into this context, or in our case it would be tables. Table called blocks of type block, and table called post of type posts. Yes, and we have a blogging context here, which inherits from the base. Yes, so let's nicely build the missing classes. Pretty much, let's start with the block class. New item. What should the block class have? It's just write prop, and then it should have in any case an ID. It should have URL. And it should have collection of posts. So a block has posts. That's the idea. One too many. Alright. Just to copy the namespace as far as I'm pretty sure. Oh no, the namespace is added. No, the namespace here. Yep. It's dangerous when you copy stuff. Okay. Now we don't have the post. We can press Control dot. And here we can see, okay, generate class post in a new file. Well, this can work. And it actually knows how to do it. Perfect. So what a post should have? A post has ID, title, what else? Content, and in order to make the connection, we need the blog ID to the post, and of course we should refer the other class itself. So would it work? Would it be okay? Let's see further. What should we do? We should refer to a database, a specific one. Where should we refer to it? In the startup.cs. This is our startup.cs file. The green comments are pretty nice everywhere. So after starting the MVC, adding the MVC, we need a connection. We need a connection. And it's something nice. I'll check the connection later a bit. Then we need services, add DB context, blogging context. Okay. Okay, just a problem with my keyboard. So starting again. Of type blogging context. And here we say options, use SQL Server, and we pass the connection. Cool. Blogging context, you have started models, of course, and use SQL Server, control and dot. It needs Microsoft Entity Framework Core. Whoa. Yeah, everything is here. We press again Control that to remove the unnecessary stuff, and we forgot to build the connection. Okay, so our server is of course localhost, the best server, and it is MS SQL DB. MS SQL local DB. Database would be exactly as the name of our project, EF get started. And what else? Trusted connection, I will put it trusted connection for sure. This trusted connection would be true. And connect retry count would be 0. Never try to retry. Okay, let's see whether I have written exactly as it should be. WorkODB, and here MSSQL WorkODB looks okay. Database, yep, pretty decent, I would say. Okay, now the fun, creating the database. We go to Tools, New Get Package Manager, Package Manager Console. Okay, so what do we get here? We get this beautiful stuff. So we need to add a migration, and we say add migration, initial create. Okay, what is a migration actually? A migration is pretty much a saving of the current situation. This is at least how I kind of explain it to myself. Press enter and wait. So some information happened here to me. That's beautiful. And we get a new folder called migrations, which we can take a look at. Looks pretty beautiful. So what it says is like whenever this migration is called, this is the up migration and there is no down migration. Okay, so you should create a table named blocks, and there is a blog ID and URL with a lot of information. There are constraints. Okay, the constraints are that there is a primary key from blocks, and the primary key is in the from blocks to block ID, and there is a table called post with some more columns: post ID, title, content, and block. And of course constraints, we have a primary key, the post ID, and of course foreign key, which is with this funny name, and it is towards block ID. As you see, although we didn't notice, we didn't say at all in the entity framework that block ID should be a primary key and post ID should be primary key, it kind of realized what's going on and it made the relation. Also, we didn't make the relation explicitly, although we referred it like this, but it realized that block ID should be related to block ID in the block table. Okay, so next thing we do is update database. We write the command update database and the magic should happen. In our SQL Server Object Explorer, which is accessible from which is accessible, that was strange, from the view and here somewhere, SQL Server Object Explorer. Okay, that's my favorite one. SQL Server is configured to allow remote connections. Failed to start. Wow, it's my favorite. Let's check what's happening. Did it really fail to start? Let's update the database once again and hope that this time it would work. Okay, yes, it works pretty much. It just injected some SQL into our database, and this is how it looks like. For example, create table blocks, not no entity, create table posts, some information for the posts, and of course creating index, post block ID, inserting into migration ID values, initial create. Okay, so with these values it knows how to go up and down between the different migrations. Pretty much, if we go to the Solution Explorer, migrations should be taken into account. Initial create, okay, up and down. Yeah, so pretty decent. Going towards the database to see what was created, simply go here, click on refresh, and click on the SQL Server and on the refresh, and then take a look at EFG. This is the one, tables. I'll close a bit here, the stuff. And in the tables, the two tables should come anytime on the Visual Studio. So after some restarting of my PC, unfortunately, yeah, I had to wait a bit in order for the database and the tables to show up. Yeah, so this is a table calling with the migration history, which is pretty interesting actually. With this table, we can go up and down in the migration. Pretty much if we add another table and then we decide to remove it, we can say, hey, I want to remove it. So yeah, just undo what was done. Yeah, so this is back to the point. We go to the block, and in the block we have like URL and block ID empty, and in the posts we have post ID, title, content, and block ID. Yeah, so let's add a controller. On the controller folder we go to add, then controller, MVC controller with views using entity framework. Yep. Model class would be block. Data content class would be blogging context. Generate views, yes, absolutely. View start is okay as a layout page. So add the block. Wait a bit for the scaffolding, and it's ready. This is our controller here. Okay, so after the block controller is added, it would be a good idea to add also another controller for the posts. Yep. That's quite good because, I mean, we just mentioned the posts, and entity framework by itself realizes that the controller should be posts controller, although the model is in a singular, the controller is in a plural. So let's see, what do we have? We go and press Ctrl and F5 in order to see our project. This is how the project looks like once it loads. Yeah, pretty much exactly the same as it used to be, but not the same. If we press blocks, we would see this beautiful part, and it would be, okay, create new. Let's go vitoshacademy.com and let's create it. Let's create a new one. You can call it Vitosh. Here comes the code. Was my old URL for my old blog, but now it's not more administered by me. And let's name a third one called vitoshacademy.com 2. Yep, like this. We can also edit if we want. For example, vitoshacademy.com is ifacademy.com, and we can save it. That's for the blocks. For the posts, we can say, okay, for example, how to program in VBA. I really need to know. And it is block ID, one of the two, one of our blocks. Okay, this is how it looks. And let's create a new post. It will be post how to loop content, how to loop in VBA. Okay, block ID 1 again. Okay, a third. Can you recommend a book? Content for VBA, and it would be for block ID number 2. So we press on create, and this is what we got. Okay, so I don't like the fact that it's looks like this, so I'm probably going to change a bit the template. So pretty much, let's go to startup, and in startup say, okay, the controller should be actually the starting one would be blocks. And yeah, the rest is okay. What else? Let's take a look at the layout in views, shared layout. We can change a bit of our stuff. For example, all these beautiful links that we saw here will be changed. Okay, I'll delete the first one. Then ASP controller would not be home anymore, but let's see, blocks, ASP action would be index, and here we will write blocks, and the other controller would be posts, of course also index. Here would be called posts. What else can we change? The first to the left is okay, it would be home, index, navband, it would be simply getting started. And I will also change, let's say, the title to something like my blog. Now it looks okay. Let's would it work? Would it not work? Let's see. I'm also curious if it doesn't work. We can restart. Nope. And it doesn't work because we need to control F5 again. Or we could have done it from here, connecting the browser, of course. But this is another story. So this is what we get. Create new. We have Vitosh Academy. Here comes the code and Academy. We can have the details. For example, the URL. Back to the list. This is from the blogs. This is from the posts. This is how the posts look. Yeah, quite okay actually. And this is the getting started part. Okay, the getting started part would be changed to something. Let's see where it was. SP controller. It won't be home, but it will be blocks. Yeah. And now refresh. It wouldn't work because of the browser is not connecting, as I mentioned, but it would work for sure. Something that is interesting to check further is the following. In the home control, in the post controller, we were mentioning which posts come from which block, and they were unfortunately referred by ID, like this. I mean, we do not know the name of the block, we just see the ID. So Entity Framework gives us a really good opportunity to change this quite quickly and quite without a problem, pretty much problemlessly. Just going to the index, and we say, okay, this is how the index page looks like. Just go to item block dot URL. Would be quite enough actually. So I press Ctrl and S, and if we go back to the website and we refresh, it will not change, I suppose, or it will change actually. Yes, it changed. Yes, although the browser was not connected, it changed. So that's great. If we press edit, of course, we can say, okay, this was how to program VBA in first block ID. We can change it to block number 3, and it's now Academy. We can change this one to block number 3 as well, and it would be now Academy as well. The funny part is that we may go further here and press and see not permissions but data, and the data will be exactly the one that we have entered. Yep, here, and the same with blocks, view data. I probably refresh the table. View data. Wow. Here we simply say close all but this. Okay, let's close it as well. Open this way. View data. Yes, finally we have it. Okay, my SQL server is somehow slow, I would say, but I can live with it. Okay, so far thank you for watching, and yeah, you can subscribe if you want and write comments if you have questions. Yep, thanks. Have a nice day.